12 days after the military coup that overthrew Chile's leftist president Salvador Allende, his friend and fellow Marxist, Pablo Neruda, one of the world's most acclaimed poets, died suddenly. How and why is now at the center of a startling judicial investigation. Manuel Araya was Neruda's chauffeur and private secretary.
At 12:15, Neruda walked down these stairs. If he had been so ill, he wouldn't have been able to walk.
It was a week after the coup. Neruda, who had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, asked Araya to drive him from here, his seaside home in Isla Negra, to the Santa Maria clinic in Santiago, from where he was to be transferred to a plane awaiting to take him to Mexico.
Neruda's cancer was at a very early stage, not yet terminal. The hospitalization was a subterfuge to justify a humanitarian safe conduct pass from the military so that the poet could leave the country.
The day before he was to leave, Neruda asked his wife and Araya to fetch his suitcase.
Neruda called me at 4 o'clock and said, "Come back to Santiago immediately. A doctor just came in while I was sleeping and injected me with something in the stomach." Neruda said he immediately felt hot and very ill.
When Araya rushed back, waiting secret police arrested him. 4 hours after the phone call, Neruda was dead. Press reports at the time said it was a heart attack. But standing by Neruda's graveside, Araya says he was and is still convinced that the famous poet was murdered.
Because if Neruda had left the country, he would have become the biggest opponent of General Pinochet abroad. Neruda was planning to ask governments and intellectuals the world over for help.
The idea of Neruda's murder would perhaps be more difficult to believe if it weren't for the fact that he was not the only extremely high-profile opponent of the Pinochet dictatorship to have died in this very same clinic under suspicious circumstances. In the early 1980s, former Chilean President Eduardo Frei was admitted to this hospital for a fairly simple surgical procedure and ended up dying, allegedly poisoned, also by injection. His son, Eduardo Frei Jr., himself a former president after Chile returned to democracy in 1990, says it took years to prove it. Traces of poisons, including mustard gas and thallium, were found in his exhumed body. At least 6 people have been charged with murder.
The special prosecutor assigned to my father's and other cases of people poisoned discovered that the military dictatorship had set up a network that produced and imported chemicals for gases and other lethal products used to kill opponents.
The prosecutor investigating Neruda's death is expected to order his exhumation. Although, after 39 years of being buried here in a humid area, a definitive conclusion about the cause of death will be difficult. There are, however, many inconsistencies in the official version that indicate a possible cover-up. Enough, apparently, to have raised reasonable doubt about what really killed the Nobel Prize-winning poet. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Isla Negra, Chile.